Hey everybody, welcome to the 30s Perspective. It's your girl Sherelle Unique here, and we have Shane, and we're waiting for Alicia. So shout out to her, shout out to B Mike. Prayers up to him. He's handling family business right now, so we'll see him next week. All right, so we'll get into our icebreaker. Shane, you want to give us our icebreaker?
Yeah, we were just talking earlier just about music and entertainment in general, and I brought up the topic of how R&B. I just have this feeling that R&B will never be like it used to be. You know what I mean? Like I turn on the radio, and well, at least where I'm at, you don't hear any R&B at all. At least no current R&B. All they do is just play throwbacks. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes me feel like is R&B even a thing anymore? Are people making new contemporary R&B music? And if they are, how much auto tune are they using? I mean, does anybody really have any talent when it comes to like urban entertainment? You know what I mean?
I feel you. I hope not. And it sure looks bleak right now. It looks kind of hopeless, but I hope that is not the case. I'd like to think that, things come around full circle and
Mhm.
we'll reach a point where that stuff will be um, cool again. But it's
Yeah,
like, how long does it have to be like gone before we really like miss it?
yeah. I mean, because last time we were discussing about how things kind of dumbed down when it comes to hip hop. It's like everything kind of gravitated to diggable planets and um, I want to say Dawes effects and all that stuff where people are actually writing lyrics and everyone had their own unique style all the way to what we have now, which is mumble rap and yeah, that's kind of what it is. You know what I mean? So it's
I,
like hip hop has gone downhill, R&B has all but disappeared. So what do we have left?
yeah,
What's left to our culture?
I think they created trap and B. Um, so it's like somewhere between R&B and trap music.
Mm,
Um,
I can't say I've heard that before.
I call it trap and B. Me and some friends call it trap and B, where it's, that R&B, like you're singing on a syncopation, like you have a lot of rhythm to your singing. It's not real powerful usually. It's just kind of that laid back uh type of stuff. Summer Walker, Gene Aiko, SZA, um, Chrisette Michelle did charades. That would be
Mhm.
charades and Ashton Martin music. Those are kind of more trap and B type songs.
I got
Um,
those.
so it's like that has almost replaced R&B.
Mm,
Um,
I
yeah,
guess I have to
that,
prepare myself when I go find it.
yeah, yeah. So it's that chill, laid back. Let me see, movies by Ashanti, um, Baby by Ashanti. Those got that trap and B feel.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. I think Bone Thugs and Harmony kind of maybe ushered us into that.
You think so? I mean, because yeah, when they came out, they were very unique, and after them, there was no one else like them. So I thought they were kind of in a class by themselves.
I won't argue that, but when I say they kind of ushered us in, it's because they do the soft singy over a trap beat or a hip hop beat,
Oh, okay, I see.
syncopated
So
rhythm.
that's pretty much your best example.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
I feel like maybe they were the first to do it, maybe, and then it became an actual genre, which I don't think it was a genre before. Um, and now that's become it's happening too often where I'm like, okay. I want to hear some singing. Like I grew up hearing some singing and learning how to sing from those people who were singing.
Right.
It was so
It's,
frustrating for me. Like I'm always pulling up YouTube stuff so I could just sing because it's a release.
it is. It is. Teddy Riley's birthday just passed not long ago,
He's excellent.
and yeah, it was. I was just YouTube surfing and I came across um what's his name, Neo. He did a birthday song for him, which was he was singing what was it, Tonight's the Night from that original album. Neo
Mhm.
was singing that, and he did very well. You know what I mean?
Neo Neo gets on my nerves,
He
but
does.
I like him. I like him. He's kind of whiny. He got a whiny tone, but
Mhm.
I like him. I like him. But yeah, I hope R&B is not dead. I hope it comes back. I hope it's one of them things where it's like so many people miss it
Mhm.
that it just comes back to us.
Yeah,
Um,
you look at the
I already mentioned this on a couple podcasts, but they have some of the Generation Z, these twins called Twins the New Trend. They're on YouTube and they are watching some of the songs from back in the day.
hmm
Um, most of it is like R&B stuff because they've never heard these songs at all.
Oh, okay. So I'm guessing these two are Zoomers or something.
Yeah, they are 22.
Okay, and they're being exposed to the stuff with substance for the first time.
The very first song I watched them do
Hmm.
was I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston.
Hmm.
And it blew my mind because as an entertainer,
Hmm.
I couldn't wrap my mind around somebody who has never heard I Will Always Love You. Whitney.
Oh, you bring up names like People Bryson. People will be like, who?
Right. I
You
just
know.
saw People Bryson in concert this year,
Hmm.
maybe last year. He was excellent.
Yeah, and the thing about artists like that from back in the day is like the way they sing, they sound in person the exact same way they do on track. You know what I mean? That it's like that's how much talent they have. Whereas a lot of these newer artists, it's like they got to go through all these digital processing just to come remotely close to what you would pick up on iTunes. You know?
I totally agree with that. Uh I totally agree with that. I mean, these days it's much less about talent, more about just being marketable, having a fan base,
Mhm. And
and that's it.
talent is what really builds the character in an individual too. Because I remember a long time ago, I was in Pittsburgh and I was working at the Southside Movie Theater, and there was these two little girls that came in, and they were professional Disney singers, right? And they came in and they was just singing some Little Mermaid songs, and I was listening to them, and I was like, just the tonal accuracy that they had, the pitch,
Yeah.
everything, and it's like, oh yeah, they've been doing this before they walk. That's
Oh
how.
yeah, you really have to be an amazing singer to be doing that. For
Mhm.
sure. For
And it's
sure.
like listening to them. I was like, hold on. I was just naming songs for them to sing from the movies, and they would just belt them out, and it's like I didn't want them to stop because it was so long since I heard real talent. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. So R&B, I hope you never like just are extinct. I hope you're never
I
extinct.
hope so too. I mean,
But
'cause I mean, like I thank God for YouTube at least, because people are posting stuff like SWV, um, Escape, all the Blackstreet stuff, Eric Benet, Maxwell, Luther Vandross, People Bryson, Shantae Moore. I could go on and on.
Shantae
All
Moore
that,
is still making music on the radio.
huh?
Shantae Moore is still making music that's on the radio.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. She got this song called Real One. I really like that one. I can't think of the other song. She has another one on the radio right now too. So, all right, we're gonna move on. Main topic: emotional abuse.
Uh-oh.
Right.
I'm triggered.
You're triggered already?
Already. Nah.
So, Shane, what is emotional abuse to you?
Emotional abuse is the type of abuse that leaves scars that you don't see.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? That's the type of beatdown that you can feel for years.
That's an excellent description. Excellent description.
That's how I see it.
I think my definition would be just manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional, mental
Mm-hmm. Gaslight.
manipulation. That looks like gaslighting. Oh no.
I guess a good example is you familiar with the whole Johnny Depp situation?
What happened with him?
Oh, you haven't heard about that?
What?
Well, he got fired from all his major roles because of the stuff that he went through with his wife Amber Heard.
What did he go through with her?
Well, she went around saying that he was physically abusive to her, right? And we're kind of in that era where we're living in where it's like believe all women and believe her without proof or anything like that. So basically, because of what she was saying, he was crucified in the media and slandered, and he got fired from everything that he was attached to. Pirates of the Caribbean, Fantastic Beast, all that big stuff. His career is pretty much shot at this point.
Oh my God. Is that why we haven't seen much of him?
Huh? That's why we haven't seen much of him, because of her.
I kind of feel like, and I didn't know what was going on, but I thought maybe he was getting tired of doing it, so he was throwing it, like going in there, not.
Screwed him up. She screwed him up because of the lies she was telling. Come to find out, she was the abuser. She was the one physically abusing him. She like threw a glass bottle at him that cut part of his finger off.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. She was throwing punches at him, cussing him out. All this was caught on tape. Her admitting to all this abuse.
That's crazy.
And
so what do you mean it was caught on tape? Her admitting to it. Hey, Alicia.
Hi guys.
Hi.
I think it's on YouTube. It was a recorded phone conversation.
Okay.
And she was talking about how, she's like he would pretty much bring up the stuff that she's been doing, right? And she would try to deflect away from it and give her entitlement and excuse of why she feels like what she did wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? How you doing tonight?
I'm gonna have to look into this. Do you know Johnny Depp's wife's name?
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
Yeah. Get this. So he was fired from all his roles, but she ended up getting a bonus, and she still has her role with the Aquaman, because she's that the one character with the red hair in Aquaman.
Oh, that's Johnny Depp's wife?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You know about the stuff that Johnny Depp was going through?
No. Like I heard like very little, but
yeah, Johnny Depp's wife was basically physically abusing him.
oh.
He's been dealing with it, but she has come out in public and say that he was constantly physically abusing her. So because of the accusations that she made, he ended up losing all his roles and all his sponsors. His career is pretty much shot because of her. And it came out that everything that she said was a complete lie. In fact, she was like at the forefront of the Me Too movement.
At the forefront of the Me Too movement.
Well, I mean, as far as the whole cancel culture thing, you know. Meanwhile, she's the perpetrator.
That's the hard part about that kind of stuff, is because, you know, you want to take it seriously when it's true, but when it's not true, you can like cause damage to the other person and actually begin to abuse that person.
Tremendous damage. So he's no longer employed by Disney. He lost a whole lot behind all that. And he tried to sue for defamation, and he lost the case because I guess the judge decided that all the claims against him were sustained, even though that there is all kinds of evidence that they're all false.
That's wild.
So, Alicia, we mentioned what is emotional abuse?
Emotional?
Yep, that's tonight's episode. Emotional abuse.
We kind of talked about this before, but I feel like that whole Jada and what's his name?
Jada and Will.
August Alsina?
Yeah. August Alsina. I think that she emotionally abused him.
Okay. Elaborate.
I think that she preyed on his emotions. And she kind of she preyed on him. So she
Yeah, because he was saying that, I mean, the way he was talking, he thought he might have had a possible future with her.
Yeah. So she fed him a dream, first off. But I feel that like emotional abuse, I feel, can go both ways. It could be, when I say go both ways, meaning like, you know, how some people are like, oh, I was emotionally abused. Like, you know, I was you know, in a relationship where I was I was, you know, emotionally abused. Well, I look at a situation like Jada and what's his name as emotional abuse as well, because she abused her power, first off, as somebody that he came to and confided in with things that he was going through, and she preyed on it. She took his emotions and she used them literally against him. I mean, not in the way that, you know, most people think it is, where, you know, it's, you know, I'm beating you down with words, but she took his emotions and preyed on him. So at his most vulnerable time in his life. So for me, I look at it as that. I feel that's emotional abuse as well.
I think
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think when it comes to emotional abuse, unlike physical abuse, I think emotional abuse can be both intentional and unintentional. I think with physical abuse, it's like usually it's intentional. I'm here to beat on you. Um,
Down mentally.
Definitely intentional, because
Mhm.
it is an aspect of manipulation, and it it's a sign of narcissism too, because usually if a person intentionally emotionally abuses somebody, it sometimes, well, specifically speaking for like people who have a NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, they actually feed off of the pain that they're causing a person. You know what I mean? So
so
it's,
you're saying that you think it's always intentional?
well, I mean, if you hurt someone unintentionally, it's unintentional. So that's not abuse. That's just something that happened that you actually feel remorse for. So I mean,
I understand that. I think when I think about it, and when I said that, I think some people have grown so accustomed to um, speaking or interacting in a toxic manner
mhm,
that they don't even realize that it's emotional abuse. For instance, I was talking with two family members, and
mhm,
I was kind of like the mediator. And one family member was in their 70s, the other family member was in their 50s.
mhm,
And they're trying to reconcile or trying to figure out how to communicate with each other. Well, the person in their 70s, it came to a realization that that person has always talked and had negative communication
oh,
throughout 70 something years of her life without knowing that it was negative, or without knowing that it was toxic,
mhm,
without knowing that, or paying attention to, or realizing that what you said hurt,
mhm,
because this is just what they've become accustomed to in communication. So when I think of like sometimes it being unintentional emotional abuse, that's what I'm thinking of. Sometimes people have grown so accustomed, especially in families where there's no boundaries, we're all enmeshed. We get comfortable with communicating with each other in a certain way that you don't even realize that this is emotional abuse. Like if every time you talk to me, it's punitive. If every time you talk to me, it's don't do this, ain't gonna work, it's negative,
mhm.
that can become emotionally abusive. And you're not even trying to abuse me. So
Yeah,
that's what I was
I
thinking.
can definitely see that. I mean, yeah, you're right. That does exist in families, because say for instance, say if you got a parent that kind of repeats what their parents have done in previous generations, so they feel like they could, like you said, talk down and just say things in a real authoritarian and hurtful manner, with the expectation of not being talked back to. You know what I mean? Because like, sometimes a child could feel like, you know you're always saying, I'm doing all this stuff wrong, what about the stuff that I'm doing right? To some
Mhm.
parents, just asking that question is disrespect, and that will just invite more emotional abuse.
Yeah. I know with my kids at work, I will come down hard on them if they're not doing what they are supposed to do.
Hmm.
But I try to make just as big of a deal when I notice that they are doing something. Like this girl, her room has been like disgusting for
Hmm.
the longest time. Now I go up in her room today. It's still dirty, but her clothes are now in a trash bag. There is a pile of dirt that I could tell she swept it. She swept it together. She
So,
didn't sweep it up and put it in the trash,
hmm.
but I made a big deal. I see, okay, I see what you're doing here. I
Hmm.
see where you're going with this.
Right.
I want to let her know I see the good. You
Hmm.
what? You did your therapy appointment today and you've been running from appointments for months? Go ahead. I see you shining. So I'm trying to make sure that they hear that from me just as much as you better go to school or I'm coming at your neck. Like
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's important, especially with young people, that you give some positive reinforcement, because
Mhm.
um, if you don't, you're just gonna build broken people, broken adults later on.
I
Um,
think
they're either gonna be they're either going to be real recessive to everything because they're so weak, or either they're going to be so angry that they're just going to pass off that emotional poison to the next generation.
Yeah. I think it's just as important with the elderly as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can affect the quality of livelihood they have by the way you communicate with them, making them feel like they can do things, or making it feel like they have power over certain things, and empowerment when you speak to them, as opposed to no, you can't, you're not, I'm not gonna let you, I think that adds to the mental breakdown of a person.
You always got to put positive and confidence in people at all walks of life, I think, because it's like we all have our moments to where we feel like we might be lacking. So having, some positive affirmations every once in a while that's actually meaningful, and not just, people just saying stuff just to sound nice. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
that's really important, that people continue to build each other up, especially when it's really needed.
Yeah. So you had mentioned gaslighting earlier. For those who don't know, gaslighting is kind of like where you make people feel like they're crazy, like you try to alter their sense of reality. So they could say, Shane, I don't like when you speak to me, it's very dismissive. And you'll say, I'm trying to think of how you might respond in a gaslighting type of way. Oh, well, you act like you never do anything.
Right. Yeah, you flip it
That
around.
You flip it around, you place blame, you try to, oh, that's old, why are you still talking about that? And you try to throw them off their game and mess up their sense of reality of how you're mistreating them.
And some people are really good at doing that. Like it's just second nature, to where they can just gaslight you and you don't see it coming. All you know is all of a sudden what you just said becomes meaningless because of how they responded.
I dated someone that was like that. And ironically, this old person, we actually had that conversation about that yesterday. And it was the same kind of thing of not realizing that it's gaslighting, not even knowing that it's gaslighting. It's sickening.
It is. I mean, I feel like it's a form of just straight up wickedness to, to make it seem like what you're experiencing is either invalid or minute, just minimized, not important. And another form of gaslighting is like when you try to confide in somebody and then they make the situation about them. They put themselves at the center of attention and forget about all your issues. So now they're trying to manipulate it and make it seem like now what they're going through is more important than what you're going through.
Yep.
One thing that I don't like, that I've noticed that people, some type of people do, it's along the lines of gaslighting, is where they will, it's better for me to put it in like a term type way. So say you start noticing that something that's going on with somebody, and you bring it to their attention.
Okay.
And you kind of bring how you feel into the situation. Like, okay, say for instance, like there's a situation with a family member, and the family member, you bring to the family, you bring to the attention, you bring the attention to what's going on to the family member, and the family member kind of brushes it off and thinks that you're absolutely nuts at what they see, at what you see. And it's like they kind of treat you like you're crazy, like you're digging too far, or you're doing too much. And it's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, I've seen that before.
I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, I know I'm not crazy. Like
Usually when
it makes you feel, they make you feel crazy for the way that you feel. And
Yeah.
it's like,
usually when people do that, they judge the situation from their own perspective
uh-huh.
Yeah.
and how they see it. And if it doesn't seem logical from their perspective, then they'll respond however they respond. And there's actually a term for that. It's called solipsism. And
Ooh.
and that pretty much that speaks